Now if you come on down to Highbury, you can see Thierry Henry. He is the best player you will ever see. Thierry Henry. Now if you come on down to Highbury.
Hello and welcome back to From Dial Square to Where. You'll be happy with that little tune, I'm sure, Basti. We talk about some of your tunes we've had in the past. But before we get onto that, I'll get onto the introductions. Without further ado, got, multi-talented, shall we say, singer-songwriter, author on tonight. He's been on the show before, and it's a big welcome back to Sebastian Wocker. How are you, mate?
I'm all right. Good. I'm all right. Yeah, could be worse. I went to watch the Arsenal yesterday, and they won, so that generally puts me in a good frame of mind.
Definitely.
Although it was a bit of a comedy show, but I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. It's welcome back to the channel to Ryan as well, Mr. Arsenal. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Obviously, we watched the game together last night, and yeah, I'm still happy we got the cup final.
Definitely. And massive welcome back as well, once again, to Kunjan. How are you, mate?
Thank you, Andrew, for having me as always. I'm great. Couldn't ask for better. I was reading a tweet today that said, looking forward to the documentary for Arsenal, because post our 3 losses in a row, we've been on an undefeated run. So can't ask for more, can we?
Yeah. Actually, I've completely forgotten all about that upcoming Amazon documentary. I think it starts around Christmas time or early January, I believe. So that's going to be an interesting watch.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, well, let's get cracking anyway and chew the fat, as we say. You were there then, Basti, last night. So what was it like being in the ground? I think the atmosphere was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good. Kev got us some cheeky OAP tickets, and I'm actually not that far away from being an OAP. So there was only 20 quid to get in, which was good. And pucker seats too. Yeah, it was. I thought the funniest bit in the first half was Pepe falling flat on his face, just as everyone's. We're all. I mean, I feel a bit sorry for Pepe because it's starting to become a bit of a running joke here. I mean, he just always seems to get himself in a little cul-de-sac or in a little thing. I suppose it's the price tag, that just set him up for being in it, But but that was quite fun. And then, really enjoyed Nketiah's goal, which was kind of also a bit of a kind of comedy moment in a way, There was because there was this moment where he kicked it and everyone thought, oh no, he's gonna, because he'd done so well to control it, loop it over the keeper, get it down. And he kind of scuffed it a bit, and everyone's going, oh. There's that little split second. I wasn't in any doubt it was going in, but there was a little moment you just thought, oh no, surely not, because that would have been sad. But and Chambers, funny enough, I'm sitting next to Steve, the Highbury spy who writes for the Gouda, and he just comes out with, oh no, not Chambers, there goes the game. And the first touch Chambers gets, he pops it into over the line. So that shut Steve up.
You said that you were sure that it was going to go in. Well, don't think we were when we were watching it on the watch-along last night. But I mean, the first touch, fantastic. Second touch was amazing. And then, I thought, oh my God, no. Like it completely shinned it, and I thought it was going to go wide, but luckily it sort of trickled in, and he well deserved it. The first couple of touches totally deserved that goal. But what was the atmosphere like though in there with the Leeds fans and everything? So
the Leeds fans were like, as we walked round, the Leeds fans were going in. They were singing something about Champions of Europe, and I was who was I talking to at the time? That was Steve again, and I was just saying like, well. Why are they singing Champions of Europe? They must have. I mean, I don't know. Well, anyway, and it's always the same with like Leeds. I just remember them from the 70s. There's something unlikable about Leeds United. We used to have a song that up the North Bank was, "We all hate Leeds and Leeds and Leeds. We all fucking hate Leeds." That was their general song that we sung. And so it was nice to beat them. They're quite a good outfit these days. The atmosphere was good. It was they were doing all the singing at the beginning, and then as soon as we scored, it was like, well, it was all us. and that shut them up. And there was one little scuffle. There was something that happened down at the bottom in front of them. I think some guy tried to run on the pitch. They had nearly the whole end. They had quite a lot down there. But yeah, they were singing, Highbury Library songs and how quiet we are and everyone, our support's shit and la la la. But then, of course, we've got lives in London. What can I say,
All in black and white up there, isn't it? No, that's fantastic. I would have loved to have gone actually last night. It is always a good game versus Leeds.
Yeah, it was fun. You know what it was? It was fun. It felt like a bit of a laugh because there's something about it was, Kolasinac playing and like a bit. There's players that aren't generally picked at the beginning. I thought Smith Rowe had he seemed to be. It was peculiar. He was picked because he was quite tired. He's been looking a bit tired. I thought the last few games, and I was surprised he was picked because I thought maybe he could do with a little rest. But he was all right. But it was quite a scruffy game. The first half was not that great.
No, it weren't. It weren't. But he wasn't meant to play. Ødegaard was always going to play, but he got an injury in training, just a slight knock. Same with Ben White. Pablo Mari was ill.
Is he all right, Ben White, though?
Yeah, he's got the same bug. So he's not injured. He felt poorly. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it's going to be all right for the weekend.
Yeah. Unless it's what.
No, I don't think it is. They get tested all the time, don't they? I mean, God, they wouldn't be able to go anywhere near the pitch if it was that was the case. But Kunjan, I'm going to take you off mute but we had a little bit of feedback at the beginning. I don't know whether it's a bit to do with the volume or something that we had before. But anyway, what did you think of when the lineup came out? Because it was exactly what I didn't want.
I'm actually happy about the lineup. In fact, I was more unhappy that Smith Rowe and Ben White played. And regarding the bug, in fact, Arsenal tweeted that it's not what you think it could be. So they're very clear about that.
We're not allowed to say that word anymore.
What, venereal disease? Venereal disease.
Gonorrhea.
Footballers. We don't know what they can be contracting. But no, it wasn't COVID. I think even Arsenal tweeted that Ødegaard and Pablo Mari are not available. It's not COVID. But yeah, I when I saw Smith Rowe in the lineup and I saw Ben White, in fact, the only surprising factor was why Chambers did not start instead of Ben White. But then again, Chambers comes and scores, so you're like, it's fine, it's all forgiven. But I was happy with the lineup. I do feel not being in Europe, yes, we are gunning for some sort of silverware, but let the players, I think, there should be some sort of competition. We can't be so reliant and complacent on the 11 that was phenomenal on Friday. We cannot be that reliant. We can't be that complacent. And it's good. I think from what I saw yesterday and what the feedback has been from fans, including Sebastian, who mentioned this, but I think bar Pepe, everyone played a part. Everyone did a good job. And I think that's the best thing to give a manager, a little bit of a headache to say, I want you to push on a little more. I personally do feel if Pepe is out of the system, it actually gives us more clarity for the left side because Saka will slot into the right. We have Smith Rowe who can play on the left. But when you go to the 4-3-3, you can have Smith Rowe, Ødegaard, Partey, and eventually Martinelli would slot in perfectly. Yes, he's not been showing the kind of form that we want, but that's the beauty of putting a second string side for these games. You get more minutes, you get to play a good opposition, and you eventually build up the confidence of the manager. So I was happy with the lineup. I actually was.
Cool. Okay. Ryan, I think we had this conversation yesterday. I think what were your thoughts initially? I think you were pretty much similar to me with regards to your hopes for the lineup initially, but it came good in the end. It was worth the wait for the second half. With regards to getting a couple of goals. I mean, let's face it. If it was a 2-0 win against Leeds, and I think it was might have been Gunner Blog that said this. Actually, I might have heard him say it, but I think 2-0 win against Leeds in any competition is always a good one, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. And look, and he said because that was the main thing we had a discussion last night about. It was too many changes for us. But the Leno, there's no need to risk Ramsey. He's not doing much in the sense of he's not run ragged like the other outfield players would be. So he could have played, but you know what, keep Leno happy till January or whenever. Play him in the cup. The back line, okay, Murray's got his illness, but still I don't see why Tavares couldn't have played and still played on Saturday coming instead of Kolasinac, because it's well known we don't want Kolasinac there. So again, going forward, depending on who we get in the cup next, is Kolasinac going to play another game for us against a bigger opposition like Leicester or Tottenham? God forbid they get through tonight, Chelsea, Man City, whoever. And then Cedric as well. I mean, Cedric, it was all right, but there was that one moment in his first half where his corner didn't even hit the penalty box before going out. And I'm just like, really? And he continued to take the corners, and it got better in the end.
He took one that nearly went out for a throw-in the other side of the pitch, didn't he?
Yeah. I think that's what I was on. But yeah, just literally just went out and came back in. It's like, oh my God. But apart from that, I mean, we had our reservations about the pivot of was it Sambi and Maitland, wasn't it? The pivot. They'd never played.
El Nini
and Maitland.
Yeah, El Nini and us. They've never really played together. So there's a bit of a doubt that would work or not. And for the most part, Ainsley out of the two actually was, for me, the better out of the two. And because he hasn't played that often for us, I'm happy for him. And obviously, with everything that went off in the summer, with obviously the infamous post he put out and this, that, and the other, he needed to take his chances. And yesterday, he took his chance and put a point. And Eddie, rightly for me, was man of the match. I mean, I think being it was Leeds, I think he was more up for it than what he'd normally be, just because of the Bielsa thing and how he got messed about there, and he needed to prove. He wanted to prove a point. He didn't need to, but he wanted to prove the point to Bielsa that what he could have done for them.
Yeah, definitely. And Basti, I'm going to just get a bit of an overview, really, on your thoughts as well, because we haven't spoken for quite a while. The season so far as a whole, sort of briefly, really, how you've seen it going with all the completely new team that we've got, basically, following the summer window.
Yeah, well, obviously, disastrous start, and then I'm pretty pleased with Ben White, and I think that he's a good addition, and Tavares obviously looks good. My jury's out on Lokonga at the moment, and it's early days. And again, who am I missing here? There's someone I'm missing. Who am I missing?
Regarding the new signings, Ramsdale.
Ramsdale's like, no, he can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. Hello, Ramsdale's like. I think Ramsdale's solid. What I love about him is the distribution, the no nonsense. Get out of my penalty area. I'm kicking it long. Leno's big fault was always his hesitancy, and he showed it again a couple of times yesterday. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I'm like, because that just sets the tone for the whole move forward. And Ramsdale, I think he's a safe pair of hands. He's definitely, I think he's got himself a place there, don't you?
100%.
I'm a big fan of his, so I'm very happy about that.
Oh, being a musician as well, about engaging the audience, and that's something he does fantastically well, engaging with the fans.
Well, he's a leader. Which we needed. He's definitely, the old days when they used to say the goalkeeper's captain of the defence, right? He really is a captain of defence. He'll shout at players. He gets pissed off when, like the other day, Partey sort of ballsed up for the Villa. Yeah. Was it the Villa goal? And there was that sort of they were the defence, and he just went right up to them and said, "What? Come on, you know what I mean? Wake up, stay conscious, be present, see what's going on around. You don't fall asleep on the job." I'm very impressed with him. All good. And actually, what's been really refreshing very recently is Lacazette coming back, looking that little break he had seems to have done him good, because he's turned up and it's like we suddenly realise, we need a man up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which sets,
He looks leaner, doesn't he?
He's leaner. He's strong, physically strong, confident on the ball. Just looks altogether more rounded than some of our players. I don't know. I mean, I've noticed recently, the last 2 or 3 games, Smith Rowe and Saka seem to have gone a little bit off the ball. They're very young, and I've seen Smith Rowe's been on TV a lot, right, doing things like Football Focus, and they've made a film about him at hairdressers or whatever it is, and all. And he's getting a lot of that kind of superstar treatment, which might be getting to his head a bit.
Well, he was excellent against Villa. Let's not forget that goal he scored against Villa was amazing.
Well, it was a bit lucky, but yeah, all right.
Well, yeah, but the whole
build up of it,
similar to the Nketiah one, he deserved it with the.
It was a good run, yeah. Of course he did,
yeah.
And he made his luck, and he got in there, and it was a good. Yeah, no, look, I'm not knocking him. He's one of my favourite players. I call him Smudger.
No, I know you weren't knocking him. I know, but he's been, I think, a lot more lively lately than Saka has been. However, a less on it Saka is still one of the best players around. Well,
they're great players, and of course they're very young,
player,
so they're going to need a little. They're developing players, but they are great. But it's good to have Lacazette there in amongst them, because I think you need to mix it up a bit. You can't just have young. No, I'm actually now, after probably the worst start I can remember for a long time, feeling pretty good. Well, I mean, Tottenham helped, didn't it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Suddenly everything felt good again. You know what I mean? It was like,
yeah.
So,
and
I'm just work in progress, though.
Oh yeah, very much so. It's still early days, but I think the signings are that the all of them that have come in the summer are playing a part. I think 5 of them started against Villa, if I'm right. 5 of the new signings started against Villa, and everyone is playing a part, so it's really, really positive. And Chappers, welcome to you. Welcome back. I haven't seen you for a few weeks. It's great to have you back, mate.
Yeah, good to see you, man. Nice to meet you, Sebastian.
Yes, hello.
Hello again, Ryan and Kunjan.
You missed that conversation, yeah. So,
yeah.
How was your...
I'm actually gappers today, look.
Gappers. Gappers.
I've had to have a tooth removed, which was a little bit unfortunate. So for the time being, I am gappers until I can sort something out to go in there. So that's all right, though. It sort of kind of goes with the whole seafaring pirate theme, doesn't it? So
exactly, yeah. Get a gold one. Definitely get a gold one when you get on the plate.
Ian Wright tooth.
Anyway, what's your thoughts on the game yesterday, Chappers? Were you happy with the way we lined up initially? And
so obviously we needed I think it was good for Arteta to give some minutes to some players that are obviously champing at the bit to play, and also it helps them kind of feel a part of what's going on as well. I mean, I think it was only kind of 2 first team starters that we had with, so that was like Smith Rowe and Benjamin White.
Yeah, and they weren't supposed to start, to be fair. They weren't supposed to. So.
No, sure. Yeah. So, it's great to see the team kind of getting, those players kind of getting some minutes. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. The result was great, but I thought the game was a bit meh. But I think you can probably expect that from a team that hasn't really, from 11 players who haven't really kind of had the chance to gel together and play together. But all in all, like a good solid performance. I missed the first 12 minutes because I was doing other stuff. I just sort of looking after the kids, and then promptly. Oh, that's right. So I've got a little kind of morality tale for you here, really. I would say now, as you well know, Andrew, I really do love my cooking. I do love to cook, and so I was making, cooking up a storm in the kitchen last night. Now this particular recipe that I was making needed like a splash of red wine. So obviously I need to get a bottle of red wine, and you can see where this is going, can't you? So I'm like, well, I might as well have a glass of red wine with whilst I'm cooking. Oh, I'll have a glass of red wine with dinner. Oh, the football's on. I'll have a glass of red wine with that. So probably nodded off about 52 minutes in, just before. And then woke up about I don't know. I woke up about 1 minute from the end, something like that.
You missed it all.
Brilliant, fantastic.
That reminds me of the Argentina-Germany Cup final. I think was it 1986, and I got to Madrid. I was in Spain, and I got to Madrid. It's cut a long story short. I decided to imbibe some cannabis and fell asleep and woke up with a peeping noise on the TV. And I'd missed the World Cup final. The moral of that story is, kids, don't take drugs.
Don't bother watching the cup final.
Yeah, no, you know what? The drugs don't work. That's what the moral is.
Or only users lose drugs. No, that's not right, is it? No.
Winners don't take drugs.
Only users lose drugs. Yeah.
All that. Yeah.
Yeah. So to be honest with you, I sort of caught up on the game a little bit. So that was okay. That's okay. But I mean, yeah, like I say, it was a bit meh, but a solid performance. I was really happy to see Ainsley Maitland-Niles out on the pitch again. I still think that he's going to be really, really useful for us come January. And I just think the more minutes that he gets whilst we're there, whilst we're kind of heading towards that time, I think that that's going to be really, really valuable for him. I don't know why, but he does add a sort of, there is a certain sort of assuredness when he's on the pitch. I mean, you know, he's been guilty. He's been guilty of been accused of being a little bit too casual, but all that sort of casualness seems to have he seems to have thrown that out of his game a little bit, and now there's kind of, you know, he's still very calm but a lot more alert with it. I think he's got a really fantastic vision, and so, you know, when he's playing in the midfield, he's aware of everything that's going on, and can kind of get out and about and put those fires out where needs be. So I think, I really think that he's going to be very, very useful for us come January. So great to see him. I was having a little think about, I was just going like this and banging my head. I was thinking, who the hell played right back? I could not think. It's Cedric, the forgotten man, wasn't it? It took me ages. I was like, who was it? But yes.
Flight Lieutenant Cedric.
Forgot that guy existed. You know, Cedric sounds like he could be a character in The Simpsons, like a little bit part character in The Simpsons. He pops up every now and again. You know, no particular horror shows from him. It was a shame to see Ben White go off. Don't you buy the whole thing about him having a bug? Because he did seem to sort of limp off as he was coming off, didn't he?
No, I don't think he did, to be honest.
No.
I didn't see any limp at all.
I don't know. Maybe it was the bug thing, and maybe he was just looking a little bit sluggish. So perhaps that's what it was. I hope.
Maybe he quietly wanted to keep his strength for another match.
Yeah. I mean,
that would be a bit naughty to feign a bug or injury so that you go off the pitch because you think it's like self-management. That would be, wouldn't it? That would be a bit.
It would. But
it's not without the realms of possibility, though. It's you know.
I suppose not. But if it's kicking around, the club, then he's obviously going to want to be in contention for that game. So I think. Yeah. You know, you've got to be shown to kind of be giving everything, really. But on the whole, nothing particularly frightening.
Cool.
Yeah, I think, like I say, a solid performance that was possibly, you know, expected to be lacking in fireworks, really.
Yeah. It's a cup that everyone knows. I really want us to win this cup. I think it's there to be won. It's silverware. It's away. into some form of European competition. So I definitely want us to go through, and we did. Now, moving forward to the next round. Is there a person you want to punch in the face any more at the moment than Lee Johnson? Anyone know what I'm talking about?
Ex-Bristol City manager, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously I'm from Bristol, so I'm very familiar with him.
And how much do you want to punch his face in?
I've got to be honest with you. I don't know what I saw that he'd said something, but I didn't have a look. But
what did he say?
Right. Well, he said he suggested that he wants either Arsenal or them lot down the road in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup after his side defeated QPR on Tuesday. Following the game, he said, "I'd love to have Arsenal away or Tottenham away. Then we will wait for the really big guns when it gets the two legs."
Oh, cheeky bastard!
I know.
This is the guy that got sacked from Bristol City, by the way.
I know.
It's a lot to be sacked from Bristol City.
Well, we are only the club that's won the most FA Cups in the country. Third most successful team of all time in the UK. Well, not in the UK. I beg your pardon. In England. So yeah, he's going to be up for a whole world of abuse if we end up drawing them in the quarterfinals. How much you look?
You know we're not going to get them, though, don't you? You know we're going to get.
Who is he the manager of?
Sunderland. Exactly, Basti. Exactly.
League One.
Sunderland.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. Once a great club, now in League One. This says
they weren't even that great back then.
No.
Okay, they lost to. They beat Leeds United in the FA Cup once. That's it, isn't it?
Pretty much.
I remember. You know, the weird thing is, I remember watching that and thinking Sunderland was a different country because I think I was 4 or something.
Because it ended in land.
Really pissed off because I hate to admit it. I thought Leeds were England because they were dressed like England, and I just my little 4-year-old brain wasn't quite. So I got really annoyed that Sunderland beat Leeds. Later, now I'm really glad they beat Leeds, but
yeah, well, it's England, obviously, and then Sunderland.
Yeah,
yeah, I can see where you were going with that one. Kunjan, I mean, how much do you want to beat Sunderland now?
I think I'm just half as upset because he was half right. So
get them not down the road. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we forgive his ignorance for Arsenal, but I think this is what we discussed even last time. That right now the chips are down. Let people take their jibes. Let them say what they want. And it's even incorrect to say anything right now because we're on an upward trajectory. Let people take their swipes. I think let the football talk, and I think it'd be a good draw to have Sunderland because again, and if we do have an away game, it's been God knows how many years since we went to the Stadium of Light because I forget it's been quite a long time since Sunderland won the Premier League. But hey, man, no judgment.
Well, I've got some.
Well, to be fair to him, I mean, it's not our finest hour at the moment. It hasn't been this season.
Yeah.
And that whole debacle of the Super League thing, that was embarrassing. We were in 11th place when we were meant to be like the top 6 team, and I'm looking at that whole thing and just going, I did start going to watch Wingate and Finchley for a bit. And I still go. I admit it. I've started
did you see them play Sunderland?
Isthmian League. No, so they didn't play Sunderland, but they lost 2-0 to Potters Bar Town last week. I was there. And it's a tenner to get in, and it's quite, a bit of a grit. Do you know what's nice about that sort of football? Is you go there, it's real football, quite a high quality. I tell you what, look, the way they control the ball, ping it about, and it's fun.
I used to play in the Isthmian League when I was younger.
Oh, did you?
Beckenham Town.
Beckenham Town.
Beckenham Town were in the Isthmian League at that point. Yeah.
Where are they now?
Oh, God knows. About a couple of leagues below that, I think. Last
The
time I
funny thing
looked.
is about it though, it's always a laugh. You go there and say you lose, right? You pick a little team like that, you don't care. It's just a laugh. Whereas when Arsenal lose, I care. It hurts.
It ruins your weekend, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just ruins your weekend. Yeah.
How comes you don't go and see Hampstead of Richmond?
I don't think that is a team, is it?
Yeah.
No, there used to be Hampstead Town that turned into Hendon.
Hampstead and Richmond. There's a really, really good podcast about it. You know,
And they're like miles away
Teo.
from each other.
Do you know Teo, who is on the Tuesday Club podcast?
No.
Well, he's an Arsenal fan, big Arsenal fan, ex superstar DJ as well, and he produced a really, really good podcast about Hampstead and Richmond during the lockdown and how it's affecting the lower league club and everything. It's really quite heartwarming, actually. Definitely recommend it. It's
I didn't even know that club existed, which is weird because Richmond and Hampstead, it's like Brixton and Edgware or so. It's miles away.
Oh, obviously, I don't know what the history is where they must have merged. But I'll send you the link anyway.
They must have gone somewhere else then, because I don't know where they are. I mean,
I'll send you the link to the podcast. It's a really, really good one. Well worth a listen. It's only about 25 minutes or so, but definitely worth a listen. And welcome to James. Welcome to Steve, who are in the chat. Nice to have you back, James. Thank you for listening. Beckenham Town are in the Combined Counties Premier. He's just told me.
Oh.
He loves his non-league, so yeah.
It's good to have a bit of non-league. It's like therapy. It's like an affair. You get away from the wife, you know.
Yeah.
There's no nagging. It's just all the nice bits.
Yeah, exactly. What's your most local non-league team, Ryan? To Heathrow. Heathrow, aren't you? Around there.
Yeah, but Heathrow, Staines Town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to any games, like non-league games?
A couple of years ago, when AFC Wimbledon, a few years ago, when AFC Wimbledon went back in down this neck of the league, as they're building themselves up, it was a playoff final. It was over 2 legs. So the second leg, the deciding leg, was at Staines Town's home ground, which Chelsea Zoom used to use as their home ground. But so I went there and my brother, he was like, I think about 3-4 years old, and just as you said, it's completely different. It's really authentic. It's nothing staged or what, like you see in the Premier League and all that, and Champions League.
Yeah. Now my sons were in the Tamworth Academy for a while. They were a conference at the time, which was obviously just one step away from the Football League, which was quite incredible for them. They got an away tie against Everton in the FA Cup once, which was huge for the area. That's when I lived back in Tamworth, and I've been to quite a lot of Tamworth games, and that was really, really good. And thoroughly enjoyed it. And James Johnston, who's in the chat, says he's a Dagenham and Redbridge full member as well. And I've seen a lot of his photos that he puts on Twitter when he goes there. So it is a great day, and everyone should support their local team every now and then. Yeah, definitely, 100%. But let's have a look ahead as well. I'll come to you first, Basti, for the Leicester game as well at the weekend, because it's looking like Jamie Vardy might be out of that game, which will be big, massive plus for us. I mean, they've got some other good strikers. That new guy they've got is obviously Patson Daka. He looks he's on fire at the moment, to be honest with you. He's really come into his own. So we're not going to be completely out of the woods with Jamie Vardy being missing, if he is. But he always seems to... He loves playing against Arsenal, doesn't he? He always seems to score against us.
Oh, God, does he? Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Hang on, Tielemans plays for them as well, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
Now, Tielemans is a really good player. He's someone I wouldn't mind in an Arsenal shirt. Mind you, I wouldn't mind Jamie Vardy in an Arsenal shirt either. But I think we missed that boat years ago, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
But no, I mean, they're a good setup, right? They are. They're gonna. It's going to be a real test for us because we're still kind of a bit like Bambi who's just learned how to walk and run a bit, and it depends which Arsenal turns up, really. I mean, if we go at them, if we can score first, and which we did against Villa, get the second, which we didn't do against Palace, that's the thing with us. It's like we score, and then as a friend of mine, a Brazilian lady, always says, they put on their high heels. About Arsenal, and that's it. They walk out there like, oh, we scored a goal, aren't we wonderful? They're walking the what's it called, whatever models walk up and down, and they start modelling and forget that they're a football team. And I think that's the mental strength Wenger used to talk about all the time, and then we just stopped playing. At Palace, we just stopped playing. It's like, we
really
have 10
annoying.
great minutes, score a goal, and then so we'll just go home, or shall we? And that very, very nearly, was a horrible defeat. And thank God for Lacazette there. But yeah, Leicester, we're away as well, aren't we? So, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Of course, I'd love to win every game, but I'd be settling for a draw, to be honest with you, because I rate them as an outfit.
Wow, yeah, I totally. I am right in saying we beat them 3-0 away, I think, last year, didn't we?
3-1. Yeah.
3-1, sorry. That's right.
Well, I mean, if we do a kind of look, if Tottenham, or like, I mean, look, there's a lot in the middle at the moment, isn't there? There's a lot of kind of teams, and I'm afraid we're one of them, that are like, there's 3 teams at the top, and then everyone else sort of 14 points, right? I mean, including Man United, Spurs, us, Leicester, Villa, Palace, teams at Everton that on a good day they could beat us or get a draw, and on a not so good day we could beat them. We need to, within ourselves, find our shape and find what we are, and get a game plan and get into a place where we know we can go and consistently beat teams.
Yeah.
And I'll go back to the Bambi analogy. I'm a little bit like, we're a bit tender in places, and a lot of that's down to age as well. We're quite a young team. And so, but I'm very hopeful for the long term. We've got the talent. I mean, Smith Rowe and Saka, fantastic, and of course they're going to have little weak moments because they're still pretty much kids, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so they're going to be on a learning curve now and again, but we've got to stick by them because, so, but I think it's gelling now. So, listen, if we get a result against Leicester and we do well there, then I wouldn't say sky's the limit, but if we can win that sort of game, then we're looking at, top 4, 5, 6 again, as a potentially. So it's a big game.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'm quite quietly confident about it. But before we move on, and I'm sure the other 3 guys here will respect that, to have a quick chat with you about what's going on at the moment with you, Basti. And you had a gig coming up at the weekend, didn't you? Which I think we've had some unfortunate news about. I don't know whether you want to fill everyone in on that.
Yeah, it's all top secret at the moment, but it won't be in about an hour when I put it out on Twitter and everything. Unfortunately, our bassist, Ridiculous, which is my band, there we are, little plug. That's not actually us.
Really
that
cool.
is 70s catalog man, obviously.
Yeah.
But we were going to play the Water Rats on Saturday. And alas, Pete's come down with COVID, and that's the end of that. And unlike a football team, there are no substitutions, certainly not at that short notice. We rehearsed with 3 of us yesterday, but then it just turned out that Aaron tried to play a little bit of bass on the keyboard, and it ain't going to happen. So there you are. So that's postponed, but I think we're going to be all right for doing a pre-Christmas gig on that. So watch ridiculous rock for the bit of plugging there. We are a half an Arsenal band. I won't tell you who the other 2 support. I will. John, who used to play for Culture Club, he's one of them, right? And also Pete, who's got COVID.
Meaning a Tottenham fan.
Meaning a Tottenham fan, yeah. So we've got 2 Spurs fans, Sperms fans, and 2 Gooners in the band. So that makes for a good chemistry,
And for anyone that's unfamiliar with the type of music that you're playing, give us an example. What sort of music is it like?
It's if anyone remembers Highbury Sunshine, which
I
was
love
a
that song.
guitar-y, rocky indie song, which I wrote in, I think, 1993. It's kind of that kind of vibe, guitar-y, rock, indie, bit Beatley kind of stuff.
I
Without
absolutely
being too
love
scousy.
Highbury Sunshine. It's going to be.
Yes.
I'm going to have Highbury Sunshine played at my funeral. I think that's what.
Oh well, I'm honoured. I'm honoured. Do you know what's funny? It's a great little track. It got to 79 in the indie charts.
Yeah.
And nothing really ever happened with it. But I was sitting next to Adam Velasco, who's the Cherry Red Records music mogul or whatever you call them. Yeah. And it's his favourite song. He keeps going, "Oh, well, sing us a bit of Highbury Sunshine." I sung him a bit at the ground yesterday.
Brilliant.
So yeah. So
well, if anyone wants to hear
little cult classic, isn't it? You can
it
get
is,
it on.
Yeah.
You can get it on YouTube or on Spotify or iTunes or it's everywhere.
I was just going to say, if anyone wants to see it, scroll down on my videos. I've put it on my channel as well for when you were last on. A few of the tunes that you've got just to help.
And there's Mr. Bergkamp, of course, the classic, the Bergkamp Overture in G major, classical. So there's a little bit for everyone, you know.
And Arsene Wenger plays bass.
Arsene Wenger on bass, yeah.
On bass.
I don't remember that one. God, yeah, that was like a Bonzo Dog Doodah band. They were like
fantastic. That is that tune.
Jokey band that did this thing like Adolf Hitler on Vibes in the 70s.
I love Bonzos. Love the Bonzos. They're brilliant.
Yeah. So we did we basically just did a plagiarised that
Arsene Wenger on bass.
Arsene Wenger on bass.
Bakary Sanya on drums.
That's it.
Oh, that is brilliant.
I think you might have played me that actually, Andrew. Have you played me that before?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. It's brilliant. Yeah. And you've also got a book out as well before we move on as well, Basti.
I don't want to hog the whole thing about that. But yes, there is a book out which Arsenal get mentions in, and me getting horribly drunk and nearly dying in Munich once with the Arsenal. And the book's called The Joy of Addiction. I haven't managed to get Tony Adams to write anything on the back just because I can't seem to get hold of him. But he's quite a difficult guy to get hold of. But there are a couple of good little write-ups on the back. But it's not an Arsenal book. It's about my teenage years, misspent youth, hurtling into the abyss of addiction until I hit rock bottom pretty hard when I was about 21. And after about a lot of rock bottoms, it must be said. But the Gunners get in there quite a lot because they're always ever present in my youth. But yeah, it's basically a addiction memoir, and it comes out all happy. Me sitting around in an NA meeting going, "Hi, I'm Basti. I'm an addict." Right, that's the end. But the road there is hard fought suffering and traveling around the world being a complete knobhead, basically.
Yeah.
It's what not to do when you're a teenager, basically.
And where can people get it? Any good bookshop, I presume?
It'll be on Amazon.
Yeah.
It'll be in limited bookshops, I think. I mean, I'm going down the independent route. But it's called The Joy of Addiction, and by Sebastian Wocker. So that's it. Oh, that's enough of the plug. It's out in February. It's not out till February the 2nd. There are some little Arsenal and football nuggets throughout.
Fantastic.
It's a tragi-comedy, you know. It's like
my life story will be a tragic comedy, 100%. Yeah. I think I'll have to get around to doing that one day. Yeah. Right. Let's move on.
I did it. It was me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kunjan, what's your thoughts about the upcoming game at the weekend? Are you confident?
Yeah. But first and foremost, Sebastian, please do wish Pete a speedy recovery from all of us.
Thank you.
And Andrew, I think you overlook one thing. I think any Arsenal fan is going to always have a tragic life. So I think let's not oversell it. It's normal to become an Arsenal fan. Your life is tragic. Let's just call it that. I am confident, and I'll tell you why. Because if you've been watching Leicester of late, Brendan Rodgers has now reverted to a back three. And when we played Aston Villa, again, unpopular opinion, but despite Brendan Rodgers being a better manager, I do feel Aston Villa have better players than Leicester City. And if we can work with a tactile formation, maybe again go with a 4-4-2. I do think we can give Leicester a hard time. In fact, Leicester, just like us, started off very rocky, and now they've had a string of good victories, including beating the Red Devils very convincingly 4-2. And even as we speak, I was just watching the scores for the EFL Cup. They were leading in the 6th minute. In extra time, Brighton pulled one back with Adam Webster, and within a few seconds, they got one back again, and they're leading 2-1 going into half time. So Leicester are very dangerous, and I think we have to be. We cannot afford any slip up, especially down the wings, because they're going to try and compact that part with a steel midfield and with the pace that they have on the side. But I am confident. I think I don't say it out loud because I'm afraid of jinxing it, but even the last time I was on here and the predictions are going up that we'd be losing 3-0 to Aston Villa at halftime, I kept mum. I didn't have much to say, but I swear my prediction was we would actually beat them 3-0. The one goal unfortunately spoiled that, but I do have a strong belief that we will beat Leicester, and I do see a trajectory, a positive trajectory, and I just if you take a few steps back and you listen to every Arsenal fan over the last few months, we have gone from whining about Arteta to do we have a style, and now we are whining about why did we change the team. That is such a beautiful thing to complain about. We're not complaining about the manager. We're not complaining about the style. We're complaining about why is he changing so many things. We need to take a step back and appreciate that, because just a few months back, we would go heaven and hell to have Big Sam manage us. So we have to take positives out of this. We have to take a big positive that we are on the upward trajectory. And yes, January is going to be a very decisive month, because we're going to lose a lot of players to African nations. We're going to have a couple of injuries. I'm sure we're going to pick them up. Rumors are that we are going to be offloading a few players here and there, but this is the trajectory we need. This is the stability we need. I think Sebastian and even Ryan mentioned this earlier on, where we have got 6 signings. I think we're the only club that is actually using most of their signings. Not looking at anyone in Manchester, but we're actually using our signings. Tomiyasu starts, Ramsdale starts, Ben White starts. Sambi right now is getting a run in. If Kieran Tierney continues to be injured, Tavares, we're very happy with him. And Odegaard is getting a run in. What more can we ask for? And we're not doing bad as well in the league. We're doing good in the cups, and I think it's fair to say certain things are clicking into place. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, it was. Excuse me. Sorry about that. It was me. Obviously, I was really worried after the previous 2 games before. That it was the Brighton game, the Palace game, and obviously it was me that said if we play like that, and I do want to make sure that was the case. I said if we play like that, we could be 3-0 down against Villa at half time, and we didn't play like that, thank God. And that has given me some massive hope, and I really hope that we have turned that corner. I'm sure we have. I mean, if we can keep that the energy up like we did, keep pressing after we've scored, hopefully if we do score first, and keep going, trying to kill off the game. That's what we all want to see. I'll go to you next, Ryan, and your thoughts on that, and I'll come to you, Chappers, or Gappers, sorry. So what's your thoughts after what Kunjan said? He spoke a lot of sense there.
Yeah, I mean, you did, and like I said, it's refreshing, and it's a good thing that we aren't complaining about the manager, we aren't complaining about the style, we aren't complaining about the ownership and the way the things are going at the club. We're actually focusing on what's going on at the pitch, in the sense of why make these changes, why change something when it didn't need to be changed and things like that. Because on a winning run, we took a huge risk. It paid off, And yeah, I mean, obviously, come Saturday, most of our players that will play on Saturday will be really fresh, basically. And I think the likes of Saka needed it. Let's be honest. He's the one person I thought he definitely needed a vest yesterday, because obviously the whole carrying us last season, doing what happened with everything that went on for the Euros as well, in terms of, but yeah, played a big part in that really in the Euros, and the aftermath of all that. Then come straight back into it, straight from the off. He didn't really get the vest he really needed, and obviously you could tell he hasn't been the same. So I'm happy, and obviously hopefully it'd be good. We'll see a lot fresher, rejuvenated Saka on Saturday. Touch wood.
Yeah, because I mentioned I watched the highlights, didn't I? I said this yesterday. I said watched the highlights of the league game against Leeds last season, and Saka was just electric in that game. It's the game, Basti, if you remember, when Aubameyang got a hat trick, the 4-2 win against Leeds last season. It was last season in the league, and Aubameyang got a hat trick. We were 4-0 up, and they clawed back a couple of goals to bring it back to 4-2. But obviously, it was a good, comfortable win in the end. But I watched the highlights. There's only brief highlights on the Arsenal Twitter channel, I think it was. And Saka was a different player. Again, I mean, obviously, we mentioned this earlier. He's not been at his best this season, but he's still been good. But when you watch the highlights of that game last year, you remember just how dynamic and just so exciting he actually was at that point. So, yeah, I'm really glad that he's had that.
Well, you can overplay, young players. Like, there's a point where, I mean, if they've had England duty as well, and then they come back, and then there's.
Well, especially when he got to the final. He got all the way to the final, and took the last kick pretty much of the final game. And most players, when they come back into the team, they get a few extra games off, don't they? At the beginning of the season, but he didn't.
Especially, as you said, as I was sort of briefly touched the aftermath of that penalty kick, basically, with all the abuse and all that him and Rashford and Sancho faced. Mentally, that would have, not just physically the Euros, but the mental fatigue you would have got from the aftermath of that final.
There's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. He was 19. That's the youngest player in our squad taking a massive penalty like that. It takes a lot of guts to do it, and people don't. There's idiots out there didn't realise that and wanted to do what they usually do, and they are being obviously hope they do get found and get penalised for what they've done, because it's bang out of order.
Yeah, and just the chappers come to you, and I'll ask you the similar sort of thing to what I asked Basti earlier about, because we haven't spoken, you haven't been on the show for a few weeks, and what I just want to get just a brief overview about your thoughts. Not just about the Villa game as well, going back, but the previous sort of couple of games before that as well, and how you think we have been evolving just over the last, since the terrible start of the season, for example. We have had a good, nice trajectory, sort of moving upwards. We had that couple of dip, didn't we, against Brighton and Palace, which worried me. But when we came back against Villa, it was outstanding, wasn't it? I mean, what's your overall thoughts of how things are going at the moment?
Bear with me 1 second. Sorry. Yes, great. I think. Where was I going with this? Right. Yes. Well, first of all, as Kunjan was saying, it's a good thing because now really the only thing that Arsenal fans have got to moan about is that they've got nothing to moan about.
It's always something, mate.
That's a good. That's a grand thing. I'm ever the optimist when it comes to watching Arsenal. I mean, you need to be, don't you? But I very much bought into the idea of something that Arteta said about, it's going to take a point where the team kind of clicks, and I think that really there was the seeds of that, I suppose, were in against Spurs, although that was a little bit of an outlier because obviously the Brighton game and the Palace game were a little bit more disappointing. But I mean, for me, that moment was the Villa game where we were just that having that ability to control the game, and that I'd never seen before. And those players, that's the other thing I was going to comment on as well, is I know we've got quite a young side, but they do seem to have a little bit more meat about them in the sense that they won't get pushed around. There is, I think I was listening to it on, I think it was the Arscast or something like that, and they were just discussing about the fact that when a player gets fouled, usually Saka, they're straight in there, or demanding a decision from the referee. They're backing each other up, and a lot of that has to do, I think, with the fact that he's really got them playing together as a team. And I think that that was also part of his decision to field some sort of more fringe players last night was because he wanted these guys to feel like they're part of it as well. I mean, obviously there's rotation, big game coming up as well, but that's certainly a factor within it, I think. So I mean, I'm really pleased with the progress that we're making, and consistency is going to be a tough one because we are a young team, and I think that that's one thing that you don't get with a young team is consistency. But it will come, and I think as long as the players keep looking out for each other and supporting one another, and again, like defending in packs and hunting in packs, that's what they say, isn't it? Then I think we'll be all right. I think that we'll definitely have a shot at sort of top 6 to top 4. But I also wanted to say as well, I think the Leicester game, we're going to absolutely kill it if we've got Kolasinac at left back. He'll kill them all. He will kill them. But he might have a UFC fight that day. We don't know. But if he doesn't, then put him in the team.
I don't agree, Chappers. I don't think Kolasinac would kill them, because for him to hurt anybody means someone must be attacking Mesut Ozil, and we don't have Ozil anymore.
Oh yeah, that is. Good point. Good point. So actually, that was the other thing I was going to ask. I think in the 3-1 against Leicester, this was a question I wanted to get an opinion off of you guys. So we've talked about Saka, playing and getting a bit of a rest and hopefully being in the team because we need him. But do you play him on the right? Because if I remember rightly, what was the Leicester defender? Luke Thomas, fullback, left back, is he?
James Justin.
James Justin.
Justin.
No, I don't think it was Justin. I'm not sure. I just remember Pepe making an absolute fool of him that day. He was. He got. I think.
Yeah, he did. He did. You're right.
He made an absolute fool of him. And I really think that. So, do you play Pepe on the right, knowing that actually he can exploit that team quite well on the right, or and maybe see if you can get Saka in somewhere else, or do you play Saka on the right and put Pepe on the bench? Now, I'm going to just say this in Pepe's defence. Although he didn't have a brilliant game last night, he has that mercurial quality where even though he might not have a good game, he'll always come up with the goods in a goal or an assist or something like that. Which is really, really valuable to a team that are lacking in sort of attacking outlets and goals.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think play Pepe or no?
I'll go to you, Basti. It's your turn, really, to have a quick chat.
I mean, a default setting for me, given the choice between Saka and Pepe, it's kind of a no-brainer. I would start with Saka. I'm not a big fan of. Well, anywhere, yeah, on the right. I would always have Pepe as a kind of joker to bring on in a. Sorry, I don't mean that in a nasty way. Although he was a bit of a joke falling flat on his face yesterday. And sometimes, I mean, unfortunately, some of us more cynical gooners were sitting there kind of, quietly kind of having a laugh at his expense, because he always seems to just take one touch too many. I still question whether he really is the real deal. Yes, he has flashes of inspiration and great moments. He'll score the odd great goal. He'll put in the odd great cross, but it is odd. It's the odd one for me. I'm not a big fan, I'll be honest with you. So I would say, look, bring him on with 20 minutes if we need something special, something different at the end. If Saka's then tiring, although of course Saka can play on the left as well, can't he? I mean, this is my point. Yeah, that's why I'm not a manager. But I think. I don't know. I'd be reluctant to start with Pepe. I think every time we start, we look better without him as a team. I think we're more of a team without him. I think he's a bit too much of what I call a playground player. Look at me, look what I can do. I can take on 3 players, but then he doesn't really. It's like sort of Kanu, but not as good, not nearly as good.
Can't
yeah, it's just, I mean, or the sort of player that I've got all this bag of tricks and look at me and look at me. It's like, I don't know. I'd say he is at the moment for me the weak link as a team. We need team players who there's no I in team. I
think his defensive work has actually gone quite unnoticed. I think he's defending a lot better.
You're right. Yeah. Well, okay, maybe you'll see something in him I don't know, but he wouldn't be my first choice in an Arsenal 11. Not against a team like Leicester either, I don't think.
No.
I mean, he may have had a good game in that last game.
I was going to say, in spite of the fact that he did, terrorise that right-hand side.
I don't know what Leicester have got on their right-hand side. Is it the same as they had last season?
I'll be there later.
They've got Pereira, I think, on the right. And on their right, on the left, they've got Castagne.
I think James Justin he had a bit bad injury, I think, as well. So I don't know whether he's back yet. So you're right.
Pepe, though, I think one thing I've noticed is that whenever one fault we might have in our team is when we come forward, especially when Leno was goalkeeper, we always seem to be really, really deep, and there wasn't necessarily a lot of outlets in the final third. Now, if you've got Lacazette and Aubameyang together playing 2 up front, suddenly it feels like, oh well, hang on, there's some opportunities here for someone to provide a pass to, because just Ober on his own up the front, I think it's unfair to put him up there on his own and expect him to. I think he needs a partner, and I think him and Laka work well together. I'd like to see that more often. And then if you've got Saka and Smith Rowe, and or Odegaard, and one player we haven't touched on is Thomas Partey. Now, where does everyone stand on him?
No one stands on him. He's too big. Big fucker.
Yeah, he's certainly, and also missing Xhaka. Are we like Partey's kind of left on his own in midfield, and then you've got Ober's kind of on his. It sort of feels a bit like that, doesn't it? I don't know. It's our support play seems to be a bit.
Well, I mentioned it yesterday. I think we're better in midfield, much better, and I think Partey was outstanding against Villa, and so was Sambi, really. But that's because they were pushed forward into their natural midfield role rather than having to sit deep in front of the back four. Because when we play a 4-2-3-1, they're naturally having to play as deep-lying defensive midfielders, and neither of them are. Neither of them are defensive. Even Xhaka's not a defensive midfielder. He's not. He's just not.
Well,
and we haven't got any. We haven't got any.
His defence is chop someone down and get a red card a lot
Yeah,
of the time,
exactly. Give a
it's-
free kick away near on the edge of our box.
yeah.
But no, we haven't got a defensive midfielder in our ranks. So
No.
the good thing about playing like the well, if you want to call it a 4-4-2 against what we did against Villa, is that they played a more natural midfield role, box to box role, and they were more comfortable there, and they were able to work to their strengths, and that's why we weren't being attacked like we used to be all the time and sitting deep. We weren't sitting deep because we were that much further up the pitch, if that makes sense. We're like 20 yards further forward than we have been against Palace.
Bringing up that Palace game, I mean, until Lacazette came on, we looked like we were in real trouble. And suddenly he came on, it was like, okay, there seemed to be some shape, you know. And suddenly him and Oba were combining, and there were little 1-2s. They've got an understanding. And it was good to see that. It felt refreshing. And then, of course, you know, miracle goal at the end, which was
I'd like to see again at some point when we started to get really good last season. I'll come to you on this one, Ryan. Remember, I can't remember what the first game was. I don't think it was the Chelsea game where it all clicked on Boxing Day, where we had Martinelli on the left. We had Lacazette up front. Saka on the right hand side and Smith Rowe in the number 10. And they were all those young players sort of gathered around, working around sort of Lacazette. They thrived in that situation, didn't they? And stealing that comment from Clive again I used yesterday about the fact that Martinelli would have absolutely thrived in that team that played against Villa. The way we were playing, the way that we were pressing, pushing, sort of harrying up front, he would have been perfect for that in that team as well. It would have really suited the way he plays. I'd love to see that at some point, especially if Ødegaard is going to be injured still for the Leicester game. Why not try that? You know, with ESR in the number 10, Martinelli on the left, Saka on the right. But then again, that means leaving out Aubameyang, so that's highly unlikely, isn't it? But I love the way we played around that sort of time with those young players around Lacazette.
Do you know much? Do you know much about Ødegaard's injury?
It's just he just got a kick in training, apparently.
Right.
Nothing serious. Yeah, so he should be fit. He should be fit. But yeah, I mean, Ryan, what are your thoughts again? Really, more about what you're looking for.
So Xhaka
on the
back
weekend.
in training then?
Yeah, he should be back in training.
I mean, is Xhaka back in training? Because if Ødegaard got a kick, it would have been him, wouldn't
it? Ryan, what's your thoughts on all that for coming up the weekend?
Well, as you said about going back to what you said about Boxing Day last year, I mean, even Lacazette himself came out just after the Brighton game because obviously got a run of games to go, and he even said himself the way that Martinelli, Saka, and Smith Rowe played along in that foursome at a time with him, he thrived off it because of the energy and all that, and we got sort of a positive vibe from in terms of work rate and all that from Lacazette at the time. He was scoring goals, coming off the bench as well, scoring goals, getting involved. And as I said, Palace, he came on and suddenly we had there was a bit of hunger in the team to get forward and get back into the game. Well, up till then, we weren't really doing nothing really. We were just just going for the motions really. Martinelli, I was happy that he got the 90 minutes yesterday. Started and finished the entire game because that's one thing he needed.
Yeah, definitely.
Because obviously he was rushed back because of COVID with Lacazette and Aubameyang at the start of the season. Because he literally just arrived like 48, 72 hours prior back from Tokyo. So he would have been jet lagged, and he then had to play a game against Brentford, and then I think the following week he had to play as well against Chelsea.
He started against Chelsea as well, yeah.
So he would have been completely shattered. So he needed a better rest, but now he needs to get his head out his backside and take the opportunities given to him. And it wasn't an enthralling performance, but it was better than what most people probably expected, considering how long he's really played. And the fact that Arteta actually kept him on the pitch says that Arteta saw something last night. Because we know Arteta has a habit of hooking him off, or when in terms of being a sub coming on, bringing for 2 minutes with nothing to do really.
Yeah. And do you know what we forgot about yesterday as well, which I was reminded about today? In regards to the substitutes, you can bring on 5 substitutes, of course, as we know. But what I forgot about was you can only do it in 3 sections,
Oh, okay.
if you know what I mean. So because he had to do the 2 injuries at one point, that messed up being able to do the full 5. If you know what I mean. So he couldn't bring on Salah-Eddin towards the end to give him his a bit of a run around when we were comfortable. So yeah, that's one thing I forgot about. Anyway, just sort of came into my head.
One last thing I want to mention, because I've seen it on Twitter. Big props to Arsenal, because someone tweeted out earlier. Basically, they went to the game yesterday with their little boy. He's got autism. Basically, it's his first game there. He wasn't really coping, and obviously after a while, Dad did the right thing and said, "You know what? We're gonna go home. Basically, do the right." So obviously the boy wouldn't get too stressed. The stewardess basically noticed her leaving, asked why they're leaving so early. He mentioned it. She then radioed on to someone else, and they ended up taking him upstairs into there's a sensory room in the club level.
Yeah.
So he didn't actually miss the game, and obviously with that, he became more calm and obviously more enjoyed the actual the day out itself.
Wow,
with that,
that's amazing.
Yeah, so big props to Arsenal. They didn't actually try and charge him anything. He literally just upgraded him from where he was to, and that's fantastic. And I think
really good from the club.
You've got to give props to Arsenal for doing that.
Well, that's the steward as well. Yeah, that's heartwarming. That's nice.
It is really heartwarming, actually. I noticed that, and Arsenal have actually tweeted out about the actual event as well, saying it was an absolute pleasure to do. And that's the club we all love, right? That's the club that sort of treats people properly.
Shows you where we are in the world at the moment. When you started telling that story, I thought the steward was going to say, "You got to go back to your seat" or something.
Yeah, I know.
You can't leave.
Right, and let's. I think we're going to sort of start wrapping it up from here. Has anyone else got anything that they would like to talk about before we sort of start?
I actually want to give you some bad news. Burnley are down at home to a goal by Lucas Moura. So
just scored.
How many minutes in are we?
I think it's about 70 minutes. So we've got 20 minutes for Burnley to get to that.
20 minutes. Yeah. 2-1 Burnley. Come on.
I'm sorry. No, I do think Burnley's going to win, because I'm pretty sure Nuno is going to bring on about 3 goalkeepers and about 6 defenders to ensure that they go through with it. So I don't think so.
There's nothing in the rules saying they can't put 2 men between the sticks.
There we go. They said 5 substitutions. They didn't say who goes where. You see, you're right. Yeah, there we go.
That's a shame.
Well, I think we want. I think we're all rooting for our favourite lovable thugs to win this one, aren't we?
Yes, definitely.
Rather than the regrettable uncle from the other side of
them. And maybe even if they do, Sean Dyche might even have that strepsil. Who knows?
Yeah.
He'll need some vocal zones and strepsils and tunes and lockets, I think.
These are nice. These are good.
What are they?
Jakeman's throat and chest sweets.
Oh, they are nice. I like them.
Delicious.
I like the
eucalyptus menthol affair. Very nice.
You know those herbal tablets? I think they're called, like the rectangular orange ones. You ever seen them?
I don't know which kind of rectangular orange tablets you're talking about.
They are.
Spangled. Go on about that sort of thing. On
herbal tablets are completely available from your local shop. I can assure you. Anyway, we'll wrap it up there then, gents.
Okay, very briefly, if you want,
go on.
on Saturday night, although the gig's been postponed, the band will be turning up, minus poor old Pete, of course, who's tucked up in bed with a hot water bottle. We will be going to the Water Rats on Gray's Inn Road, just round the corner from King's Cross Station, at 7:30, just to have a drink with whoever wants to turn up and say hello. And just because we do have a few fans who kind of who we might not be able to get hold of, and they'll turn up there and be all disappointed. But if we're there and have a drink with them, they might be a bit less disappointed. So that would be nice. And but if anyone wants,
I guess.
hey,
if you're buying,
Yeah.
John's buying. Ask John, the Tottenham fan. He's got more money than everyone. He's still got royalties from Culture Club, so he actually, go on, hassle him, yeah.
No worries.
Yeah,
well,
no, definitely not buying because we made a loss on this gig. But there you go.
Well, when you get it rescheduled, come back on. Well, we can talk about it.
Tentatively, it's the 19th of December, but we're waiting on Aaron to see because he might have something. I'll find out tomorrow. Anyway, it'll be on the Ridiculous website or Ridiculous. Just look for this on social media somewhere. That's it. That's us.
What's the Twitter handle? Do you know it off the top of your head?
Ridiculous Rock.
Great.
Because we rock.
Absolutely.
Apparently.
Well, like I said, have a listen to Highbury Sunshine. Anyone that hasn't listened to it before, and you recorded 3 songs at Abbey Road the other day. So when are they going to get?
Well, there's one called "Everybody Loves That Girl," right? And we're going to release that at some point. There's still a bit of mixing and stuff to do. So again, watch this space, the Ridiculous Rock handle on Facebook or Twitter, and we've just opened an Insta account as well. So I hate all that social media stuff, though. It drives me up the wall.
Yeah, I was just laughing at gappers there.
I know,
trying to catch a
mosquito.
I was trying to, didn't get the bastard.
Were you a cat in your last life?
I just catch them with chopsticks, mate. I'm like the Karate Kid.
Zen master.
Yeah, I'm like the Karate Kid. Like first attempt every time. Anyway, this is getting ridiculous now. Pardon the pun. So let's go. And thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for coming back to the show. Sebastian, been a pleasure. Basti,
thanks for having me.
Hope to see you again very, very soon. Ryan, I'll put obviously all the links to everyone's Twitter handles, etc. will be in the show notes after the show. So we haven't got to go through all those. Kunjan, been a pleasure again, mate. Thank you so much for coming on at short notice. And Chappers, wonderful to have you back.
Oh, it's nice to be back. Actually, if we're plugging band stuff,
go for it. Yeah,
I've got a band. We're called the Gentle Hooligans. We play rock and roll, rockabilly, jump blues, that sort of stuff. And follow us on Facebook, The Gentle Hooligans. That's us.
Good name. Yeah,
thanks. Definitely will. And I've definitely want to get front row seats to one of your gigs as well one day. Both of you guys.
You won't be sat down, mate.
It's an expression, mate. It's an expression. I would never sit down at a gig ever. I will completely refuse. But yeah, for both of you, I'd love to do that. But yeah, thanks everyone again, and we'll look forward to seeing you all next week. Take care and goodbye.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.